It's time for We in Lewes, a podcast dedicated to celebrating the remarkable, creative, and energetic people of Lewes, Delaware. They are the We in Lewes. Today's episode is our third annual holiday party, a celebration with all the podcast guests from this year. And we are honored so many of you could find the time to return. Now, as some of you know, we're a rather frugal operation, bordering on the cheap. So today, we've promised every guest and a friend or significant other free food and drink in exchange for being part of one last episode. I agree, it's really cheesy. But if the past is prologue, it's also a lot of fun. So, welcome to the party. We are broadcasting today, and by we I mean Steve Esfandiari, my good friend, our own tech wizard, podcast engineer, and the proverbial calm in the storm. Sam Shelton, who helped us out part of this year with social media, and, as he was too gracious to say out loud, give the podcast a little polish and class. It was a mighty effort, but we are who we are. Matt DiSabatino, our host, our biggest sponsor, our first friend, our coach, and a man who is patient enough to let us record at the beautiful bar in the middle of his renowned, resplendent restaurant, Kindle. It's funny how the guy with the booze always gets the best hand, you know what I'm saying? He was also smart enough to keep the bar closed for the first 50 episodes to see if we would actually behave ourselves. And I'm your host, Kevin McGinnis. Our good friend Larry France couldn't make it due to scheduling problems, but with us today, and please hold your applause and cheers until the end, award-winning coach, educator, and a community powerhouse, Bill Collick. Beloved professor, teacher, mahjong instructor, and probably the best-looking meat smuggler I've ever known, Dr. Kathy Henn. Former CIA officer and a universally respected expert on UAPs, that's unidentified anomalous phenomenon, Jim Semivan. Co-chair of the internationally award-winning Lewis and Bloom, Ed Zygmonski. Auctioneer, businessman, realtor, and a true historian of the city of Lewes, Dick Bryan. Firefighter, nurse, professor, a man who has dedicated his life to championing the disenfranchised, Dr. Kevin Mallinson. Former teacher, but more importantly, current writer, actress, playwright, and a hysterical commentator on this thing we call life, Lisa Graff. A man who created his own industry so he could do what he loved, the always active founder and owner of Quest Adventures, Matt Carter. Businesswoman, interior designer, and most importantly, the inventor of the Summerbell reading method that allows people with visual dyslexia to read, well, everything. Hillary Summerbell, award-winning nonprofit executive at both the Lewes Historical Society and the Delaware Community Foundation, but most importantly, Oyster on the Lewes Champion Vintage Baseball Club, Mike DiPaolo. Sculptor, painter, jeweler, serial artisan, and art show impresario, Jenn Wagner. Board member, speaker, guide at Fort Miles. Yes, Lewes had a military fort during World War II, the Cold War, and even the Vietnam War. There's a museum, but much of it is still tucked away under the sand at Cape Henlopen State Park. Ed Paterline. And our own four lovable, courageous retirement musketeers, Bill Hicks, Bob Rabatsky, Jay Donecker, and Lewis's own mononym, Shook. Come on, if we're going to be honest, that's a pretty damn impressive roster. Each of your episodes made our podcast so much more than just a series of individual stories. We learned about business, real estate, Lewis's history, coaching, teaching, whether it's young people, college students, or that most terrifying cohort, adults. We've learned about standing up to bigotry, surviving life-threatening homophobia, and listening to your instincts. Several of you stress the importance and rewards of giving back to your community. And like before, we've heard brilliant life advice, such as When describing a success, use we. When explaining a mistake, use I. Or my personal favorite from Jim Semivan, our own seemingly affable CIA field op. Don't worry if you ask a question I really don't like. It's not like I'm going to come over to your house at night and knock on the door. That's not who I am. I'll have someone else do it. Thank you all for being so insightful, candid, and funny. To the degree we've had any success or provided some entertainment and education, it's entirely because of you. I'd like to start with a question about this podcast. Come on. It's not like I'm going to start with a question about the application of general equilibrium theory to a seasonal coastal economy. What's the one thing that surprised you and hopefully pleased you about being on the podcast? Kevin.
I was surprised that all the answers that I gave in sign language never really came through. I kept looking for the video camera and there was nothing.
That's a good one.
Bill.
I think the biggest thing that it surprised me the most was the just the authenticity. You know, every person that's been on, every person that spoke, you knew that person.
Lisa.
I was surprised at how comfortable I was and how easy it was to be the recipient of the questions by Mr. McGinnis. It was really, really touching, and I felt really positive about the whole experience.
Mike.
That anybody listens to it. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. Honestly, about how conversational it was. You know, you get the questions ahead of time, but it's amazing how easily everything flowed.
Yeah. Ed.
The thing that surprised me was I finally got a seat at the bar.
That's good.
We're going to stop right there. That's perfect. Shook.
The thing that surprised me most that you'd be so desperate to ask me to be on your podcast. And very impressive, actually. Twice. Yeah, twice.
Hillary.
The gratitude for the time to tell the story.
I had a great time working with Kevin, and I was surprised mostly about, again, how conversational it was, and it went very, very smoothly. I've done a lot of podcasts, but this was probably my favorite.
Ed.
So this was my first podcast. And again, as other people have said, it was just so easy to do and so much conversation, and I didn't have to bring flowers.
And it's still your first favorite podcast, right?
Of course.
Okay. Kathy.
Oh, I was really amazed and blown away by the continuing education department at the University of Delaware's enthusiasm for my podcast. I wasn't sure they even knew who I was, so that helped a lot. And now I also noticed that some of my opinions that I expressed then are now their opinions. And also they're starting a similar podcast among the University of Delaware population.
Bill.
I certainly am thankful to be asked to be on the podcast. And I said this earlier on that I actually grew up in here and lived on Burton's Avenue, and to as much as anything to give my perspective of Lewes and growing here in the area. So I certainly was really happy to be asked to be on the podcast.
Bob?
I know I always choke you up, Kevin.
I cried during your episode.
Was there a podcast? I mean, I just thought we were 4 guys sitting around, 5 guys sitting around, 6 guys sitting around just getting questions and drinking some beer, which was great.
Jay.
Free drinks from Kindle, but knowing Matt, I completely understand why, but I'm still very surprised.
Jenn?
So I actually have 3 answers. One, and the most serious, is that I shared a weakness, and we don't tend to do that in public. And it was actually really neat to see how many people reached out to me after that to say that they too had something going on or something that is not a visible disability. So that was a really nice nice thing for that. And then the second was that I was the first person to make Steve laugh so hard he fell out of his chair. Because, whenever I would say I wanted to be a stand-up comedian, my parents would laugh, and so I thought I was good at it. But and then my third thing was that I was interesting enough to be on a podcast. That was kind of cool.
Dick?
Kevin, I enjoyed listening you do that auction gig.
I didn't make it through the first stanza.
You made me do it. I nailed it.
You did.
Well, they say in the ag industry, corn sells. It was corny. People loved it. It was very informative, and I still run into people that saw it and enjoyed it. And it was my first podcast as well.
If you have 20 seconds to explain why someone should listen to your episode, what would you say?
Well, my episode I thought was pretty informative about the history of Lewes, and I described it as Mayberry, and that's basically the way I felt it was growing up. And I think each person's information was very informative, and I enjoyed it, and I think everyone that listens to it does.
Jenn?
I would say that everybody says that they have their ducks in a row, but I don't have ducks. I have squirrels, and they are at a rave. But if I can make it, you can make it.
Basically, and somebody should listen to this podcast because what they will experience is what's also happening in their own community. And if they look and connect with people, what they're listening to here will be found in their own communities.
Bob?
I would suggest if you didn't get enough of Dave Shook the first time, tune in the second time.
Or maybe not.
Kathy?
Well, I tell people to listen to my podcast because I confess to a crime. And Kevin assured me that the Venezuelans are having a lot of difficulty getting into the country right now, so I'm still safe.
Ed?
Well, it's so interesting to note when I run into people from out of state and they see all the flowers in Lewes, they think it's done by the city. And when I tell them it's done by an all-volunteer organization, they're absolutely amazed to think that that could happen.
Jim? I'd also like to note, I know you all don't pay attention to this, Jim actually has the record of the number of podcasts he's been on. Yes, this is his fourth. Wow. Yeah. So as smug as some of us might be.
Highly surprising. Yes, highly surprising. Well, first of all, I would just say that I had an interesting career with an organization like Central Intelligence Agency, and it's worth listening to because I don't think people get the right perspective about what it's like to be a spy for 30 years. The other thing is UFOs and UAPs, as we call them now. It's a bona fide topic. It's being taken very, very seriously by the government, and it always has been. I've been working on this topic for 40 plus years, and I've been on the classified level and on the unclassified level. So it's worth listening to, whether you believe it or not, or have any interest in it or not. At least I think it is.
If you've experienced the struggling of what it feels like to try to read, and you can't do it very well, then if you try Summerbell.com, which is my reading program, that helps people who have visual dyslexia learn to comprehend reading and also decode words. It could change the trajectory of your life, because if you think about it, where would you be today if you couldn't read?
Sure.
Well, as president of the Overfalls on the board of Canal Front Park and the board and chaplain of the post-17 American Legion, a lot of people ask me, did I hear you on a podcast? And I said, well, yeah. When you're stuck in traffic and you really can't even pay attention, you don't know what to do, turn on We in Lewes. And there are a lot of different characters on there that will amuse you for the ride.
Ed?
I would listen to my broadcast in order to get the story of Reverend Reitmeyer from the Episcopalian Church, who was in charge of the Red Cross during World War II. He's a fantastic individual.
Mike?
I would listen to my podcast because I think it's a good peek into two organizations here in town, the Historical Society and the Community Foundation, and what they do and how they represent a community of volunteers and people who give back. And also, I would listen to the baseball podcast, because why wouldn't you want to hear about grown men playing vintage baseball without gloves and breaking fingers? So,
Lisa.
It was an opportunity for me to tell people that I do more than one thing. Everybody does more than one thing. I'm known as an actress now, but before I was a writer, a teacher, an essayist in the Washington Post. And so it was just gratifying to be able to announce that now, at this age of my life, that I'm actually performing shows that I'm writing and producing myself. LisaJGraff.com.
Where do we send the invoices?
Bill, and before you say anything, I'd just like to point out he is the only man of a certain age who can wear a colonial-style ponytail and not look sad.
I think you should listen to our episode, because where else can you hear four old guys sitting around a bar, drinking beer, talking about being retired? And then we find out that none of us have really retired. We've just moved into a different thing now. And there was a lot of good insights on what you should do. And the main one is keep moving.
Kevin.
I would say you should listen to my episodes, because you would get some insights that you might not normally get from talking to people on the street about the impact of homophobia, the impact of racism, what it's like to work through a major pandemic in the world, and come out of the other side with a good sense of humor and a great appreciation for people.
Bill.
I lived here all my life, and before there were houses in the Ship Carpenter Square area, I played in that field with the Schroeders, or a bunch of kids there that were, their father was the famous artist. And Rob Schroeder and I became great friends, and we used to actually go on with each other sometime, and it didn't take us long to figure out that the peanut butter and jelly tasted the same at each other's house.
Matt.
You can watch my episode if you want to learn how to make a living doing what you love without making any money doing what you love.
As you may know, we are in the very preliminary stages of producing a film entitled We and Lewes, the movie. Who would you like to see cast as you, and why? Kev?
Kevin McGinnis, because I'm tired of having hair that I have to brush every morning.
All right, we might as well stop there.
That stays, Steve. That stays. I don't care what he says. Okay, that stays.
Bill.
I think probably I forgot his name. It'll come back to me.
What other movie?
David Hall.
No. To Kill a Mockingbird. Gregory Peck. Yeah.
To make the movie. It's a little freaky.
All right. What? George? No. All right. I think if I had to choose an actor to play me, it probably would be Timothée Chalamet, just because we look so much alike. My hair might be a little longer than his.
The proper answer is Lisa Graff, but I would also say Meryl Streep, because I've admired her forever, and she can do so many different parts.
The only correct answer is Ryan Gosling. Or actually, no, I'm sorry, Ryan Reynolds. Sorry.
They both look the same.
They both.
And why?
Well, there's just a striking physical resemblance, right? Especially the abs.
Ed.
Steve Buscemi.
That's a good one.
Why?
Oh, because he's got that same kind of droll sense of humor.
Well, the last time I was in a movie theater was about over 30 years ago, and the movie I saw had Denzel Washington in it, and I'm sticking with Denzel Washington.
Come on, no change from season 1?
No, he's a stud. How could I change?
Yeah. Bill.
I'm going to use someone local, and I'm going to say Daryl Daisy. And I'm going to say Daryl Daisy because his father was my Sunday school teacher. And they've lived in Lewes, and all the things that we were told to be, Daryl's father was, and Daryl could do it. I'll say that.
Hillary.
Okay, so Julia Roberts, the movie Aaron Brockovich. I like that. I like the curiosity. I like the passion. I like the breaking the glass ceiling.
Jim.
Without a doubt, Richard Dreyfuss, same stature, same age, same hairline.
Ed. So before we said it had to be a person who was still living, I thought of Jimmy Stewart, because Jimmy Stewart was in my favorite movie, It's a Wonderful Life, which is about a small town and the people who come together in a small town. And I think that's so important and so unique about Lewes, is the people that come together in this town. Now, having said that, and it has to be a live person, it's got to be Keanu Reeves, because he's a kick-ass kind of a guy. That's what I'm talking about. Kathy.
Well, I can't sit still long enough to stand through 2.5 hours of a movie, so I really wanted to say Gina Lollobrigida until I found out that I had to explain that, which I don't think I could do within the standards set by the podcast here. I did have my picture taken a couple of weeks ago at a ball in Richmond, and I'm sitting there in my beautiful raspberry Regency gown next to a younger woman who is wearing black plumes. And the people who took the picture said, I look like Maggie Smith with a naughty granddaughter. So I'm going with Maggie Smith. She was so versatile that I'm sure that even though she has passed on, she could do a good job.
Idris Elba. Because he's suave, sophisticated, and has that English accent, man. All the things I want to be.
Jay.
Charlie Brown. He's timeless.
Jenn.
Amy Poehler, because she's got a great sense of humor. She probably causes as much trouble as I would.
Matt.
I want to be played by Woody Harrelson from Cheers and the rest of the staff, or the rest of the team on Cheers, with Sam and Cliff and Norm and, Diane and Carla. They could all fit right here. I see all of them right here. But Woody's mine.
Kevin, you already had me cast in a movie. Remember Doc Hollywood? That's right. One of my favorite movies is Witness, Harrison Ford. I love that movie. I mean, the relation to the barn raising with the Amish. There was actually a song I heard the other day on public radio, the orchestra doing that barn raising song. Pretty awesome movie if you haven't seen it. Film, Brighton, Lancaster.
Is there one thing you believe everyone who lives or visits Lewes should take time to do?
Everyone that visits Lewes should take the time to go down to the state park and watch the sunrise. It's a beautiful sunrise right over the ocean. And then continue to tour the rest of the town and come back and I'll sell you a house.
If you come to Lewes, the one thing I suggest or recommend is that love Lewes during the day, but have a bonfire on the beach at night.
At first, I wanted to say my answer depends on the season, but then I thought about it, and I think that Lewes is just such a neat town regardless of when you come. Walk down 2nd Street, enjoy the wonderful restaurants. If it's after 4, come to Kindle. Listen to the podcast, meet the people, go down to the beach. He took my answer when he said the sunrise. But it's also kind of cool because it's one of the few places on the East Coast where you can see the sunset over the water if you go out on the sunset tour.
Jay.
Be sure to visit down at the Roosevelt Inlet to see the sunset.
Bob.
Are we pitching local merchants here? So my suggestion
Only
is
Kindle and
bring your cooler. There's a wonderful beer store in town. Fill it up. Bring your beach chair down to the beach and just sit down, relax, read a book, and have a good time.
Kathy.
Well, I'm suggesting that you come here tomorrow for the annual hospitality opening of Lewes, which is a wonderful time. And we have a special treat this year because the Lewes Friends English Country Dancers will have an open house from 1 to 3:30 at St. Peter's. Anyone can come. You can watch it or you can try it out. It's the kind of dancing that George Washington did or that you would see in a Jane Austen movie. No hee-haw, okay? And all you need is shoes that will stay on your feet.
So I'm going to say if you come to Lewes and you come in early July, then you should definitely go to the Doodah Parade. It's something that small town America is all about, especially here in Lewes. Anybody can join the parade. Anybody can walk or ride in the parade. It's a free form kind of a deal, and there are thousands of people who just love it.
Three of my most favorite things to do are the Doodah Parade, as you said. It starts in front of my house, which is just great. We have a whole bunch of people standing there in the summer, so it's a lot of fun. Also, Cape Henlopen State Park, absolutely gorgeous, and I love 2nd Street quite a bit. And Lewes has so much to offer.
Having grown up here, and I probably don't have a proximity or reference for living anywhere else. I spent a month at Harrisonburg, Virginia, at one point. But when I look at just from a kid growing up here, it's just there's nothing like Lewes, and you can find many things to do in Lewes and find many wonderful places to go and areas to see. And so, again, I'm going to say there's nothing like it, and I don't even have a reference or proximity for living anywhere else, but there's nothing like it.
I feel as if everyone who comes to Lewes should come see the historic lightship overfalls that Time magazine has listed as the top 100 landmarks to see in the United States of America, and that's pretty good company. And then after you see the ship, go the hell home. Everybody wanted to say that, and you know it.
Oh, man.
Ed?
So for me, I would just echo what other people have said, but in the words of E.E. Cummings, the poet, for whatever we lose, like a you or a me, it's always ourselves that we find in the sea. And that's at Cape Henlopen.
Mike?
I would say two things. One, specifically, like other people have said, is a parade, but this weekend is the Lewes Christmas Parade. And I know we're all a bit biased, but I think it's probably the best one in Sussex County. And it's just a lot of fun on Savannah and 2nd Street. Just a great time, a great party. And I would say year-round is explore the local cemeteries. There's some great headstones, some great stories, and the people who over the years made Lewes home and made it what it is today.
Lisa.
I'll say two things. Even though I love Kindle, I also love Half Full, where they have wonderful pizza and amazing wines. And then go and enjoy the Cape Water Taxi. I've probably done it 30 or 40 times, and it never tires.
No.com this time?
No.com.
Cape Water Taxi.
Cape Water Taxi.
Bill.
Oh, I think if there's one thing that you should not miss here in Lewes, it's the Sussex Tavern down on the Historical Society's historic campus at 110 Ship Carpenter Street here in Lewes. Where else can you get a historic cocktail? Where else can you get George Washington's favorite drink? A cherry bounce. Indeed, you'll get the drinks, you'll get the history. It doesn't get any better than the Sussex. We'll see you at the Sussex.
.com.
Bill, I forgot. Remind me. Where do you work?
At the Sussex Tavern.
Who knew?
110 Ship Carpenter Street.
Kevin.
I would say anybody visiting the town should take a walk through the historic district and look at the architecture and think what has happened to this town ever since 1631 when the Europeans first arrived, and the changes that have happened in the town that are also very apparent in the architecture that we have here. It tells our culture, it tells the background, the good and the bad of everything that happened in this town over the years. And then go to the Sussex Tavern and have a good stiff drink.
Where's that located, Kevin?
At 110 Ship Carpenter Street. .com.
Hillary.
Somehow, some way, get your body on the water. I mean, when I moved to Lewes, I moved here because of the sunset, honestly. Never even looked at a house. I mean, I looked at one house, bought the house. But once I explored the waterways, sailed, got on my little Boston whaler, went down to Milton, it's a whole new world. So my suggestion is get on the water. For me, Lewes feels like my inner circle family. And it's a place where I'm safe. And it's friends that are true. And I am, that's how it feels to me. It feels like family. And I'm so grateful for everybody because of that. And I never feel unsafe when it doesn't matter, walk into a restaurant or whatever. I just feel like we're all brothers and sisters and we're in it for the good of enriching each other's lives. Family.
Again, thanks so much to today's guests for joining us. Thanks to today's studio audience. The show does feel different when you can see and hear people listening, laughing, groaning, and having fun. I hope we can do this more often. Let's hear it for the audience. And of course, thanks to you who are listening for sticking with us, for your comments and suggestions. Well, some of your suggestions, and for being so supportive all year. For those who didn't listen to our 50th episode, shame on you, despite the size of Lewes and our own profound shortcomings as a recording and editing team, or that we record at the bar, not a professional studio, this podcast now ranks in the top 25% of all podcasts in the United States. And get this, we've been listened to in over 50 countries and 1,024 cities around the world, from Lewes to Brussels to Fernando de la Mora in Paraguay and Dripping Springs, Texas. Just remember our motto. Listen early, listen often. We know it's not us. It's the brilliance of our guests and our wonderful and supportive listeners. On a personal note, there is one other person that needs to be acknowledged. This person was there at the beginning when I first had the idea for the podcast, sitting in the back of this restaurant, listening to the Williams brothers. I explained what I was thinking. Well, to be honest, I over-explained it. The response was, do it now. I need more wine. This person has weathered every episode, pretended not to hear my countless multiple-hour editing sessions or my whining about scheduling, my mistakes, and always been honest. One review was, not your best. Ouch. But it makes, I really like that one, so much better. Kath? This is our last episode of 2025. We'll be back next year with the 4th season of We and Lewes and a new roster of wonderful people and some interesting new topics. Again, thanks to all of you. All of us here at the podcast want to wish you the most wonderful holiday and an absolutely spectacular new year. Till January, this has been
We and Lewes, the podcast.